I'm delivering the quad bike scenario today to try and emphasise to farmers the number of accidents there are on quad bikes and how important it is that they wear head protection, wear a helmet, and to make sure that staff are trained and are very careful on quads. So if we look at quad bike accidents, there are on average 1,000 accidents a year. That's a lot of accidents, isn't it? 1,000 a year. That equates to about 3 a day. So somebody's possibly fallen off one already this morning. These are reported accidents. So to be a reported accident, it's going to have to be a pretty serious injury, isn't it? Broken leg, broken arm, broken rib, something like that to be reported. Yeah, 1,000 a day. And in the last 10 years, there's been 20 fatalities on quads. Of those fatalities, not a single one of them was wearing any head protection. So the statistics really stand for themselves, how important it is to wear some head protection when you are operating a quad bike. The head protection is absolutely vital. People say, well, it's not the law. And this is where there's a bit of a grey area, and it's to do with the Road Traffic Act. So under the Road Traffic Act, it's a four-wheel vehicle, and there is no requirement to wear head protection on a four-wheel vehicle. So it's classed as a quadricycle. But under the Health and Safety at Work Act, which we all come under because we're at work, you do have to wear head protection, and it is the law. Any head protection will do as long as it comes up to the European standards. So it's got the European CE marks on it. This would offer you the best protection along with a motorcycle. What you mustn't be wearing is a builder's hard hat or a chainsaw type helmet. They're not suitable. So the next thing I want to look at is maintenance. So need to be checking the oil. There's a small amount of oil in that engine, and it's a good quality oil, so don't put tractor oil in there because it's a petrol engine. So there's oil in there. That one's air cooled, so it's got antifreeze to check. There's also the tyres and wheels and brakes to check, and the tyres are absolutely critical that you check those. So what are you checking for? Yeah, anything from sort of 2 to 5. Yeah, very low pressure, isn't it? So if you imagine if the tyres are at 4 psi that you've said, and one tyre was 2 psi down on one side, that's not a lot in a car, and you possibly would hardly notice it. But on a quad bike, that's 50%. So that would make a big difference to the handling characteristics of that vehicle, wouldn't it, if the tyres are soft? So it's really important that you check them. I think it's the pressures of the industry. You know, you push for time, and you know, there's a lot of work to be done on the farm, looking after all the stock, and things have got to be done timely with the weather and stuff. So I think because farmers are so busy, they sometimes forget about the little things. Another reason for accidents then, they don't always corner very well. No differential in the back axle. Yeah, we're looking at the front of it here, but around the back axle is solid, so both those back wheels are turning together. So on a hard grippy surface with those soft knobbly tyres, it would tend to go straight on, and you could end up, if you were unaware of that, end up crashing into the gate post. So you have to ride it with a bit of a different technique because of that, and you've got to lean with a little bit of weight on the outside of the turn. So you make the inner wheel a little bit lighter to help that wheel to spin a little bit when you're cornering. It's called riding body active, so you're actually moving about in the seat. You may even be able to see the back wheels spinning a little bit, so the inner wheel on the turn maybe just spinning that little bit, showing that there is no differential in that back axle. So you can see how Dan's being body active and moving around. See how he's moved forward now to stabilise the front, so he's keeping the front down by sitting forward. And now he's moving to the back of the seat when he comes down over the hill to put weight on the back tyres. So with Dan sat there and parked there, look, he's sat right at the front of the quad, so that's putting a fair old bit of weight on those front wheels, look. But if he was a novice operator, where would he be sat? Because he's uncomfortable now because his arms are all kinked up. He'd probably be sat further back. So Dan's moved back on the seat, look. His arms are outstretched now where it's more comfortable, and that's made a massive difference to the front of the quad. Just moving back that much. So you can see how important it is to lean forwards. Doesn't look very safe, does it, parked on the side like that? The first thing I would say is don't drive across the side of a slope with a quad bike. If you can, go straight up the hill and straight down the hill. Only go across the side if you really have to. But can you see where Dan is sat? Look, right on the top side, so that's keeping weight on the top wheel, isn't it? So that's got quite a bit of weight here, keeping this top wheel down. But again, if he was inexperienced, he may be still sat in the middle of the seat. You might even see the quad lurch. Now if I try it, look, one hand, yeah, and that bike could easily go over, couldn't it? It's good for them to talk about this sort of thing, and that helps other farmers to realise that, yeah, perhaps we could be doing things a little bit better and how we can reduce accidents and injury and lost time. A decent quad trailer would be a sensible size with quad tyres, a swivel hitch. This has got a fixed hitch, look, so a swivel hitch is better, the type of hitch that can spin around, so if the trailer was to tip or the quad tip, one wouldn't take the other. The other thing that's important is the amount of weight that that hitch is transferring to the back of the quad bike. So it's capable of carrying a cargo, and that particular model can carry 60 kilos on the back and 30 kilos on the front. So if we look at that, that's a 2-to-1 ratio, isn't it? 2 on the back, 1 on the front. And that's important. Lots of people forget that. Put a big sprayer tank on the back with water slopping around. Don't put anything on the front. And of course it means it's going to rear up and you end up sitting on your backside. So if it was a tractor you put a sprayer on, you would automatically put weights on the front, wouldn't you? You'd think about balancing it up. And you should think about the same sort of thing with your quad. So if you put a sprayer tank on the back, think of putting something on the front to stabilise the weight. The one thing I would like farmers to take away with them today is the fact that they should or must all be wearing head protection. It's absolutely vital. And the statistics stand for themselves. Of the 20 fatalities, not a single one was wearing any head protection, and nobody's yet been killed on a quad who's been wearing head protection. So one thing I want everybody to do is to wear some form of head protection on their quad bikes.